fuckers. Welcome to the Love Chamber. You're listening to Talk Me Off, a show about sex and fucking. I'm Chris.
And I'm Mark. Welcome back, everyone.
How you doing this week? You been doing any weird sex stuff?
No, I've been pretty busy with like adult stuff that isn't sex related on myself.
When you say adult stuff, that sort of it implies something that obviously isn't happening. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you about my personal life. Let's just talk about other people's.
So what you ask me, like, yeah, tell me all the times you've done weird fucking stuff, and then when I was like, what about you? It's like, oh no, that's
That's private, Mark. I can't believe you would ask me that.
double standards.
This is Talk Me Off. Mark and I like to talk about sex all the time. We decided we should probably relegate that to 1 hour every week, and so that's what you're listening to. I've been following the news this week, and there's some interesting developments in the fitness spheres.
The fitness spheres.
Have you heard of BangFit?
No, but I can probably guess what this is.
Oh, this is a new initiative by Pornhub.com.
Okay.
If you go to bang.fit, you'll be greeted with a website full of some very, very amusing cartoons telling you that you can get fit by fucking with the BangFit app.
Oh, okay.
So you go to bang.fit, you get a little code, you plug that into your phone, you strap your phone by whatever means necessary to your waist, and then Pornhub will give you a pornographic video.
Okay.
Which you are, as I understand it, meant to reenact.
Oh, but
with a loved one. Now there's options. There's an option for one player, for two players, or for three players, depending on how many people you're having sex with.
But what if me and three other people want to join in? See, they've closed off.
I guess
the
you're gonna
couple
have to sub in and out in that instance. It's also extremely heteronormative. There's only, as far as I've seen, heterosexual options. I was unable to convince my loved one to sample this delight with me for the podcast. So I cracked it open and I fired up one player mode, thinking like, what the fuck am I going to reenact? Are they just going to show me a video of like a dude jacking it and ask me to imitate him?
I would have thought it'd be a lot of like point of view porn.
Here's what happened is I fired it up. I was given a video of it. Started, it was a dude and a lot of clothed women not having sex just yet, and then a little bar appears at the top of the screen, and there's little dots sort of moving past the bar telling you when to, I guess, thrust.
Right.
And so without a strap around, I just sort of held my phone against my pelvis and started thrusting into the air, which I'm not gonna lie is the dumbest I've ever felt in my entire life. And then it crashed because it told me that my internet was too slow for the BangFit experience.
Oh, that's so anticlimactic.
Yeah, I know, right? In more ways than one.
Do you know what they should do is, like, you know, those little, like, how are they, the Fitbits, little pedometers sort of thing? They should just make one that's like, it's like a cock ring. You just put that around your dick. And then you get some kind of brand deal with Oculus or some kind of VR headset. Just really immerse yourself in the fucking experience.
Yeah, I think that'll be the way, assuming you've got something to actually, like, insert your genitals into, or to insert into your genitals, depending on what genitals you have. But as it stands, there's just a BangFit. I believe they're actually going to sell a waistband that you can slot your phone into.
Yeah.
I don't really know how it's going to work with a touchscreen phone, because I don't know how you bang, but like my waist gets pretty deep into some flesh usually when I do the sex, and I feel like that's gonna actuate the touchscreen again and again, hopefully not breaking my phone, but like maybe.
Yeah, they'd have to. See, the only way I can think of it working is if the strap incorporates some kind of 90-degree angle so you can at least still see the screen.
No, you don't need to see the phone screen. You just need to see. You have it on on a computer or a TV.
Oh, it's like a separate thing. You're not watching porn on the same thing that you're thrusting with.
Yeah, no. There's a screen that you follow along, and then there's the phone. It's using the phone's accelerometers and whatnot to determine whether or not you're doing a good job of imitating the action on screen.
See, when you said BangFit, I thought it was some kind of gym promoting, like, just very aerobic fucking positions.
The way the actual app works looks a lot like Guitar Hero, but for doing it. But they're touting it as like, no, this is going to get you fit. This is what's going to get you into fucking shape.
See, I feel like, I don't know if you've ever, I mean, I'm sure a lot of our listeners, and Chris included, have watched porn in the past.
Yeah, like one time.
A lot of that one time. But a lot of male porn stars have what I like to call as fuck gut, where they're not ripped, but because of the constant thrusting motion, they've got well-developed ab muscles. but because they don't do much else, they've just got like this weird keg shape of abs, and it's just from all the fucking, but it's not like, you're not chiseled and you're not cut. It's just, you've got strong muscles under a thin layer of fat that you've just had because you don't do anything else. If you're loading up this Pornhub app thinking you're going to get ripped, I feel like you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Disappointment is certainly what I felt from my brief experience with it.
Man, I might have to go home and have a look at this app, and then I'll probably report back next week and let you know how it all turned out.
Are you going to go solo, or do you have like maybe someone who would join you on this endeavor?
I'll put some feelers out and just see who's interested.
If you'd like to fuck Mark, just for research.
This is for research only. So
please do get in touch. Also, if you just try it yourself or with a loved one, let us know what your experience was like, and we'd love to have that on the show.
Yeah, I'm real curious to see how that all works out.
We got some questions this week, as we always do.
Yep. And I guess this is probably a good time, as it is always every week. If you have a question or know someone who may have a question for us, feel free to get in touch on our Facebook group, facebook.com/talkmeoff, as well as our Twitter, @talkmeoff. There you'll find a link to a Google Forms page, I should say, which is where you can submit your questions anonymously. We've got an area where you can attribute them to a porn name, which we always encourage because it just makes it a little bit more fun.
Speaking of porn names, we got a question here from Some Random Lady, which frankly is a terrible porn name, unless that's your thing.
I wouldn't watch a porn about Some Random Lady. I guess I do, but like that's not their name.
That's all porn ladies.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is from Some Random Lady. Some Random Lady says, I've fallen in love for the first time in my life recently, and the sex is the best I've ever had. Honestly, when it happens, it feels so overwhelmingly surreal and euphoric. I never believed that making love was a thing until now. My experience makes me wonder, does sex when you're not in love feel different to sex when you're in love? And if so, why do you think this is? You ever been in love, Mark?
Yeah, sure. A couple of times. I mean, I feel like I'm lived long enough to have fallen in love, and
you're an old soul.
Yeah. But I feel like she's already answered her own question. Like, she's like, it feels really different. Does it feel different? It's like, well, yeah, because you just said it did. Like,
was it different for you, though?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's something that happens when you've been with someone for a really long time, especially, I mean, you kind of have to be with someone for long enough to develop that kind of love feeling.
You don't believe in love at first sight?
Not really. I think lust in first sight is more accurate.
Absolutely.
I feel like love is one of those emotions that has to be built on. You can't just throw that out there real early. I mean, some might. If you've been in a relationship for several years and you told each other you loved each other within the first few days, then I guess you're one of the lucky few. But from my experience, it's something that's generally built up to, not something that just sort of happens suddenly.
I think there's people that can like mentally separate sex and love. So sex is one thing that is not necessarily tied to love, and love maybe doesn't necessarily feed into better sex. And there are people for whom those concepts are very closely tied together.
Yeah,
and in that
definitely.
case, then yeah, being in love is probably going to enhance your sexual experience to some extent.
I feel like it does make it better in more ways than one, because not only is there like an emotional connection for those that have that connection between love and physical sex, but you also just know the person better. You know what they like, what they don't like, and they in turn know what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah, we talked about this a bit last week. It's about just getting better at fucking someone from getting to know them.
That being said, I do always really enjoy the first time fuck, because it's just always like, I don't know if it's like my own ego or not whatnot, but I really want to like give them a good show.
Yeah, there's two different sort of schools of really enjoying sex. There's the falling in love and really caring about someone who's given you some genital jollies. But then there's also that grand excitement of fucking someone you don't even know. And both of those, you can't really have them at the same time. But if one leads into the other, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah,
but like, I guess it comes from like, I don't know, wanting to make a good impression. Like, I'm gonna fuck you so good you remember me for next time. Like,
I don't know, if it's just a stranger, maybe you can be a little more selfish in that instance, because like you're not maybe trying to impress them so much, you're just trying to get your own rocks off.
No, I've always been I've always had the desire to impress one another.
You're a fucking show off, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, I'll always try and, like, even if I never see them again, I want them to be like, yeah, that guy just fucked me so good, and then just rode off into the sunset, never to be seen again.
That one sexual unicorn from so long ago.
Yeah,
what was his name again?
I don't know.
So when you were in love, Was it better? Was it better than all the random sex you've had in your life, you big slut?
I'd say yeah. There is also what I call comfortable fucking, where you wake up together, you've had a lovely evening and a lovely sleep together, and then it's just kind of this like, not lazy, but there's none of the fireworks in it. It's more of like a comfortable, it's like an embrace with jizzing at the end.
There's no pretense about like getting all dolled up and like going on a date or anything. It's just roll over in the morning and slip in some fingers, and it's just a beautiful time.
Yeah, it's not so much like, I mean, that exists as well as the I'm in love with you fireworks sort of like really. So I wouldn't say like every time is going to be that amazing euphoric feeling, but like certainly most of them can be. It all depends on the people, really.
Yeah, there's also the risk that you are in a relationship with someone that maybe you're not actually in love with, and then you lose the first time sex with a stranger sort of excitement, and then it's just routine, boring sex.
That's always a disappointment.
Oh, that's a sad thing.
Yeah.
But that's when you need to start like spicing things up. That old cliche.
Yeah.
Try something kinky.
But that's when you kind of like really need to wonder, it's like, are we just doing this to prolong the relationship because we're both lonely, or are we genuinely like exploring this new sexual territory together?
I think it's if you're in that situation, maybe that's a great opportunity to explore some stuff that like maybe you wouldn't want to risk exploring with a partner who you really cared about.
This is true as well, yeah.
That's the person you want to be like, yeah.
You can pee on me if you want.
Yeah, let's give it a try. Why not?
I mean, I've never had an interest in being peed on, but I'm sure, I mean, I know that there are people out there that do, and if you've been curious about it, I guess that's a good time to try.
If you are in that sort of rut, we got a Craigslist just for you.
Oh yeah,
right here. This is a men for men and women. This guy will spice up your boring relationship, surely. This is regular relationship wanted with white couple. Sorry, you have to be white. I forgot to mention that.
So he's sexually exploring his very racist attitudes towards other people.
A little bit, yeah. Like, regular relationship wanted with white couple, 240. Straight male, dark-skinned.
Oh, so he's dark-skinned, but he's looking for some white meat.
Yeah, specifically a white couple.
Oh, maybe it's more of just like an interracial fetish then.
I guess, is that racist?
No, because I feel like fetishes take a weird backseat to general social norms.
I guess as long as it's consensual and nobody is upset by it.
Yeah, like
maybe it is, but like give it a pass because everyone's into it.
Yeah, I feel like because there's been interracial porn that I've witnessed on the internet where there's just racial slur upon racial slur, saying this, that, and the other, and the dude who the slur is about is totally fine, finds it a turn on because he or she is fucking the shit out of this racist bitch or guy.
As long as they're into it, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to
or are getting paid handsomely.
Yeah, maybe that's what they're sacrificing their own morals for some money.
This is where it gets good though. Prefer couples aged 30s and 40s seeking long-term and regular relationship with white couple who are interested in a third person in their relationship. Husband should be aware of relationship. If not involved, then at the very least aware. Well-educated individual with Australian university degree, if that's important to you. You don't want to have a third guy in your relationship who's not educated. This is your guy.
I feel like he's not just looking for like fucking opportunities. I think he's also looking for like an actual relationship, kind of like a polyamory sort of.
Oh yeah, no, because this is the final line is where it really brings it on home.
Right.
For human warmth and companionship, shared responsibilities, please email me with details.
Okay, so this guy's an alien, not an
definitely from outer space.
It's like that the other Craigslist post we did a couple of weeks ago. The guy looking for human interaction,
seeking human female.
Yeah,
human warmth and companionship. Teach me to love.
What is love? But like, what is he expecting? Like, some guy to post back, it's like, yeah, I've got like 2 dogs out the back and they're a couple. Yeah, they're both white Pomeranians. You want to give them a go? Like, they'd love to have you.
I think this is his closing point is just to say, like, if human warmth and companionship is what you desire, here I am, dark-skinned human being, racially discriminatory. Get in touch.
That's such a weird thing to have a preference over. Although, I mean, I know that exists. It's just, from a personal point of view, I've never really had skin color as a list of wants or needs sexually.
This isn't just sexual. This is a relationship.
Well, that as well. Like I've never like met some girls like, oh my god, she's amazing, she's funny, and but she's like Indian, so nah, no thanks. Like it's never been a thing of mine.
Well, you're a young and progressive man. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back for that.
I mean, that's why I tell everyone, so they can pat me on the back and say that I'm not a monster.
Speaking of fetishes and sexual desires that I personally don't understand at all, what do you know about pussy pumps?
Specifically pussy pumps or just pumping in general?
We got a question here from someone who didn't give a porn name. Thanks.
Dick.
Let's call them pussy pump.
Fair enough.
Pump asks, would a pussy pump increase sexual pleasure for both parties? And if so, how would it do that?
Okay, so from my understanding of the way sort of a pussy pump, well, really any pump works. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Kylie Jenner challenge where people put their lips in a shot glass and it makes everything puff up. It's the same sort of thing. So it's like a rush of blood, and I think there's some kind of lymph draw in as well. Basically just leaves, by use of suction, it makes the vagina quite swollen. Based off what I've read and observed and all that other stuff, it does make the pussy quite sensitive because everything, it's like any swelling really, the whole area becomes quite tender. I don't know if it's something that hurts and has to be like an acquired sensation to become pleasurable, but yeah, generally it does make everything quite sensitive.
I did some research on this question because I know absolutely nothing about it, and from what I've read, it seems you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. It's maybe a little bit of pain, however, it will yield a more sensitive zone on the lady parts, and but generally for it to be mutually enjoyable, it's all about the visual aspect for the dude. So if you like those Kylie Jenner pussy lips,
from my understanding and from just media that I've absorbed from this particular category of porn, a lot of it seems to be like they'll pump their pussy up and then it's mostly them just masturbating with it. There's very little dicks going into a puffed pussy.
Actually, I read a lot of advice for women thinking of trying the pussy pump, and every single column said, do not try and do it like they do in porn. You will wreck your vagina and have a really hard time walking for at least a day afterwards.
Yeah, I think...
like all sexual things, don't imitate porn.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the possibility, I don't know if this is 100% like verifiable, but there have been whisperings of saline injections being used to make a porn star's lady bits particularly swollen.
Juicing.
Yeah,
juicing in the pussy pumping community.
Essentially, yeah, because it makes it full, and you don't have to have a pump on your snatch for 2 hours.
That's quite upsetting. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. But yeah, I think for a dude to be really into it, I think it's mostly a visual thing, not so much a sensationary thing. But like that's why I asked before: is it just pussy pumping? Because there's men and women that pump their nipples. A dick pump is essentially the same premise. You're filling that region with as much blood and liquid as you can to make it bigger.
Those are usually marketed as like a long-term penis enlargement solution, though.
Yeah,
not just like a do it once for the sex you're gonna have. Like this will make your dick bigger forever.
Yeah, provided you do it every day for like 10 minutes a day, and like it's a temporary solution stretched out forever. Like it's not gonna make your dick bigger for like you don't do it once and then it suddenly like drops to the floor sort of thing. Although who'd want a dick that big?
Who wouldn't?
Me. It's too big. Too many dick for that to be a useful tool.
Maybe you're an outlier there.
Maybe.
So there you go. I guess that's what we've learned about it. Although no experience from either of us.
No particular like hands-on experience. I feel like the gentleman or woman.
We have no idea.
Mr. or Mrs. Pump. I feel like if you're asking to give it a go or encourage a partner to give it a go, I'd probably just have a look and see how much a pump is and then assess whether or not a potentially not interesting thing is worth however much a pump is.
Yeah, cost is always a factor in these things, upsettingly.
It's a weird thing about fetishes, though. Like,
do you think you could make your own?
I probably wouldn't want to try a homemade pussy pump. The concept for so many things going wrong, like the potential rather for so many things going wrong is very real. Like, what if you don't line it properly and then suddenly you've got like a bit of plastic digging into your flesh? Like, that's a bad time.
What if you turn the vacuum cleaner up too high?
Oh, I didn't even think about a vacuum cleaner. I was thinking like a hand pump, like the ones you can buy that have like a two-way, like a one-way filter, and they just sort of pump air out of the little cup.
Do not apply a vacuum cleaner to your genitals under any circumstance.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that people end up in hospital with that sort of shit.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, like we're getting a little bit sidetracked, but I think it's an interesting thing having particular fetishes that are necessary, like unfortunately require an investment of money. So there's this like, I'm kind of curious about this thing, but the thing I need to do it is $300 and I can't justify using it for something that I may not enjoy. It's a shame that you can't just like try before you buy, but understandably that's a good way to spread infections and horrible diseases around.
Yeah, I think maybe if the pussy being pumped belongs to someone who is curious to try it, and the person not being pumped in this equation, presumably a male, likes the idea of a swollen, plump vulva, then absolutely give it a try. Be safe, be smart, but I say go for it.
I wonder if... I know there's that stereotypical scissoring act that lesbians don't actually ever do. Or if they do, it's...
They don't?
It's
Way to fucking step on my dreams, man.
From what I've heard of lesbian friends of mine, it's not really something... It's not like a staple in their repertoire. It's something that...
One of those things that's more fun to watch than do.
Yeah. But if both pussies were plumped up and sensitive all to hell, maybe like mashing those two together would be like something pretty amazing.
Well, thanks, man. You destroyed one dream for me, but you birthed a new fetish.
You're welcome. I'm sure that exists. Like, if you typed up, like, lesbian pussy pump scissoring, I'm sure you'd find something.
The internet is a vast and wonderful place.
If you find some double-pumped lesbian porn, feel free to send it to...
If the things Mark has just said have titillated you in a way you did not expect from our stupid podcast, then and you end up looking it up, send us what you find.
I don't know if Facebook will flag that, so maybe just send it to Twitter.
Yeah, or use the anonymous form.
Yeah, that'd work, yeah.
That's what it's there for. Speaking of enjoying parts of a female in a particular...
This is a terrible segue, Chris. Speaking of sex, I've got another sex-related thing I want to talk about.
Absolutely nothing in this episode links very well to the next thing on the list.
I mean, it's nice when it does work together, but I mean, we're fielding questions from all our listeners. So
look, some people like a plump, swollen vulva, and some people, like this Craigslist gentleman, like smooth female armpits. It's the best segue I've got. Fucking take it or leave it, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a swollen armpit, so yeah. So what this Craigslist guy? What's his deal?
This is a men for women. Wanted smooth female armpits. Hi, do you have nice, clean, super smooth armpits? If so, I want to come lick and suck them. Then lube them up and slide my hard cock over them until I come. The pleasure for you will be the feeling you get.
I love that. It's like, I'm not going to do shit to you. You can just feel that. Like,
this is the only pleasure for you will be your armpits getting rubbed and jizzed on.
It's like, what's that saying? Like, the best reward is knowing you did a good job, or like...
You should be proud of what your pits did to me, and that'll be enough for you. That you'll enjoy that much. You will get excited and really wet, then I will give you a awesome pussy licking until you let all your fanny juices come over my... I should mention I don't read these before the show. Mark digs them up, and this is my first viewing of this.
You're welcome.
I'm going to try that again. You will get excited and really wet, then I will give you a awesome pussy licking until you let all your fanny juices come over my face. If you have never tried it, hit me up. HMU, hit me up.
Yeah, I believe that's the abbreviation.
It is truly a horny experience. Your little clit will be busting to be fingered, licked, and sucked. You host or outdoors. Your place, or we can go to a park. This is disgusting. I'm not doing this in my house.
I don't want your fanny juices all over my bed.
I'll wear them on my face, but not in my house.
I like the idea is odd to me. Does the woman just have her arm up above her head while the dick's just sliding around on her lubed armpit, or does she close it and kind of make like a makeshift vagina?
Like I guess like everything else in this ad, it's fucking up to the dude. The lady will receive only the pleasure of that, and then apparently some other fanny pleasures also.
Awesome what was it? An awesome orgasm or something like? Just the grammar on it is terrible.
I will give you a awesome pussy licking.
A awesome pussy licking.
If you want your pits tickled I'm a boner, and then awesome pussy licking.
Contact this guy. We won't send out links because that's not this kind of show.
We don't want to encourage this sort of behavior.
No, we do, because then we've got more material for our next show.
we don't want to encourage people responding to these ads.
No.
Have you ever heard of an armpit fetish?
No, yeah, I know that's a thing. Actually, it kind of... There's a feature fetish in coming weeks that actually encapsulates this as well as a few other things. So look forward to that next.
Specifically, like super smooth pits.
No, because the thing with a lot of those like labeled fetishes is because there's so many nuances to that sort of thing. If you were going to make a name for every single one of those nuances, it'd take for fucking ever. So I think there's like more generalized things in that aspect. So, I mean, I imagine most of them would prefer a smooth armpit to a hairy one, but who knows? I mean, again, not to shame anyone who has this fetish, but like I kind of get it. It's a smooth surface in which you could lube up and rub a dick on.
That's all men really want, right?
No, generally they prefer some kind of, for want of a better word, a warm, wet hole in which to put their genitals in.
Very specific desire, though, in this particular warm, wet hole.
It's not even a hole. It's just like a flat surface.
it's a fold.
Yeah. I wonder if you'd get the same experience with just some like soft leather that he could just sort of pretend is an armpit.
Do you think there's sex toys for this fetish?
If not, we've got our first $1 million idea.
I'm googling it.
Armpit sex toys.
What's the best search term for that?
Armpit sex toy.
Whoa! Why did I go straight to images? No. I made a terrible mistake.
What were you confronted with? I can't actually see the laptop from this angle.
It's there's no armpit sex toys, I'll tell you that much.
Are you just presented with images of dicks in armpits?
No, it's a combination of regular pornography and then very medical sterile photos of people's armpits and plucking hairs and stuff.
Oh, that's kind of boring.
Miley Cyrus pops up a lot in this search.
I feel like with this particular fetish, and with indeed a lot of other sort of more obscure body fetishes, like people who like feet and people who like, although feet's not really that uncommon, but regardless, a lot of their like porn in inverted commas is just like general movies and clips of people showing off that part of their body inadvertently. Like when last week I was talking about the psychrophilia, people watching the end of The Shining and getting off to frozen Jack Nicholson. Like, I feel like it's that sort of thing. Like, I don't know if there's strictly...
If your shit's too specific, maybe no one has made something just for you.
Yeah, just because, I mean, it's hard to market to someone who's going to bankroll a porn is going to be like, yeah, there's like 1,000 people who are into this particular thing. We're going to make not a lot of money. Like, yeah, it has to be pretty broadly accepted as erotic for someone to even think about making a porn of.
Disappointingly, the only thing I could find in this search that's even closely relevant is a sex toy available in Japan called a schoolgirl armpit smell in a bottle.
It's just the smell of an armpit.
Yeah, you can't rub your dick against a scent.
Well, I mean,
I guess that's why you go to Craigslist, though.
Well, there's obviously Craigslist and the what are they? The real dolls, the real girls, or whatever they are. The hyper expensive sex toys that are basically just human figures.
I bet they got real smooth armpits.
Yeah, well, they're latex. And I'm pretty sure, because they do custom the orders, I'm pretty sure if you say, can you make sure her arm will raise and lower like a real girl's arm? I want to fuck the armpit. They'd be like, yeah, sure.
Just give me the upper body. It's fine.
I don't know if they'll do disembodied women. That's going to be kind of fucked up, wouldn't it?
That's very upsetting.
I want to fuck a stump. Just give me the top half.
Why you always got to take it there, man?
And you took it there, talking about just give me the upper body.
Yeah, right. That's on me. Should we do another question?
Yeah, sure.
I'm giving up on segues entirely.
Oh, you did so well at the last one.
Yeah, shut up. We got a question from Boobs McGee.
Boobs McGee.
And I did read this one beforehand, and it's a little bit upsetting.
Oh, yeah?
My ex-girlfriend was into nearly all kinds of kink. There wasn't a fetish that turned her off. She had a dog's shock collar, which was amusing to play with, but not a turn-on for me. One of the fetishes that was most hard for me to deal with was waterworks and fecal or scat play. That's poop for the uninitiated.
Is it waterworks or water sports?
It says waterworks here.
I generally think it's
I don't think they had a plumbing fetish.
Yeah, I think the generally accepted term is water sports. Or should I say like pee fetishes, essentially.
It wasn't the question asker's fetish. They don't gotta know exactly what it's called.
Yeah, that's true.
She wanted to get a kiddie pool and didn't seem to understand that you would have to replace it every time she played. She had a really strong gag reflex at even the slightest of smells, so I can't understand how she would be able to eat a stranger's shit. And she did want them to be strangers, preferably ones that paid her. As the loving partner that I was, I did try to fulfill her desires as much as I could, so I slapped her around and made her have a cold shower in the middle of winter, then, continuing the roleplay, peed on her while she lay in a bathtub to warm her up. It was not a turn-on. Not at all. If anything, kind of funny, but she liked it, so I guess it's okay?
Yeah, I mean, in the world of kink, the same rule applies of sometimes you may do things for the one you love that you may not particularly find a turn on. Just in that particular instance, it gets way more extreme.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you were okay with doing the stuff you did, if it got her off and you found it kind of funny, that's probably cool.
But maybe if you didn't, like, laugh in her face and be like, look at you, all shivering, covered in my pee. Like, if you didn't, like, make her feel bad about what you just did.
I mean, it seems to me that, it says nothing would turn her off.
Oh, that's true. Maybe, because she also said I don't get why she'd want us to eat shit if she was going to throw up. Like, vomit fetish is a thing. Like, it sounds like this girl really liked to be degraded. And, yeah, the idea of taking money to do such a deplorable act and then puke all over yourself and sort of essentially bathe in shit and piss and vomit by the sounds of this kiddie pool idea. Like, I feel like the gag reflex is just like a bonus for her. Chris is visually shuddering and like trying not to puke at the thought of bathing in shit, piss, and vomit.
You have such a beautiful way with words, Mark. I think you got outkinked, Boobs McGee.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what happened here. Probably that relation. If sex is such an important part of that life that you're going to buy a fucking kiddie pool to get into all the filthy shit you want to get into, maybe that wasn't a good relationship to be in. Though that's not what you're asking. You're asking, is it okay? I think it's okay. I think,
yeah, it's okay, provided you don't have to, like, sacrifice your own morals to...
Yeah, as long as you didn't feel shitty for doing it yourself.
Yeah, as long as, if you can still look at yourself in the mirror after doing debasing acts to someone, and for their benefit, obviously, because, consent is... Nothing's hotter than consent. Wink. Like... But yeah, so as long as it's something that you can, like... You personally can be okay with helping someone get off doing something you particularly find is disgusting. You personally find is disgusting, I should say. Then yeah, that's totally fine. I don't have any issues with it. But
as long as you never felt coerced or forced, etc.
Yeah, it actually raises an interesting question. Chris, have you ever been outkinked in relationships? Have you ever met a nice lady who's brought in some shit that you weren't ready for?
I've only ever got into the kinky stuff with someone who I was in a long-term relationship with and in a loving relationship with. So if they had any kinks that they didn't feel comfortable bringing to me, they didn't bring them to me. And everything that was within my scope was joyfully tried out.
Okay. So I guess, did you try anything that she was really into that you yourself was like, I don't really like this. It's not really my cup of tea.
No, it was sort of a try anything sort of phase. I didn't get outkinked. I got upkinked.
Right.
I learned some new shit, and I was like, no, you're right. That is good.
You stepped out of that relationship as Chris 2.0, the kinkier version.
Yeah. I learned some shit.
It's always good when you leave a relationship with some new tricks in the bag.
I guess that's why, Booze McGee, you had a win here, because you at least tried some shit. Maybe you didn't awaken any lustful new desires, but, you gave it the old college try.
And now you've got a cool story to share with no one, because it's a pretty distressing thing to tell someone.
It's an extremely personal story that you can only share anonymously on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, though. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I really like that one, because the whole idea of being outkinked is always... It's a very real thing, especially when someone gets into that whole world, because, again, it's so nuanced and so particular. You may find someone who, in all other accounts, is amazing and you love them dearly, but they've just got that one thing that you'll never, ever do because you tried it once and it was just not good for you.
I can't believe I didn't think to ask, because you're a big slut. Have you been outkinked?
No, but I'm just a colossal perv, so I'll pretty much give everything a go.
Have you outkinked anyone else?
I feel like I may have, but I'm really not pushy when it comes to that sort of thing. So, when you start a new relationship, you have that whole, like, so what are you into kind of talk. I'd always gingerly approach certain aspects, and based on their response, I would either go deeper into more specific territory, or I would back off and be like, well, I mean, that's not like the be-all and end-all of me. Like, vanilla sex is still going to get me off. I don't need you to, like, choke me with a tie while I, like, rub baked beans on my tits or anything like that. Like, it's not... I'm not so far gone that I need the kink to get by, but, like...
Can you give me and the audience at home an example of how you would approach that? Just, I'm your new, seemingly vanilla lover. How do you gingerly approach the topic of one of your fetishes?
Well...
Roleplay it.
I mean...
Look me in the fucking eyes.
No, because that's my thing. I always look away and look kind of nervous. So
gingerly, I guess. Yeah,
he's nice. He's so naive about his own fetishes and stuff. I mean, it'd always be like a sort of like... It'd start with a kind of like a did you know, or matter-of-factly, like, I'm quite a dominant person in the bedroom, and then based off what they say from there. So yeah, I'm kind of like dominant in the bedroom. I like to kind of direct things. And
oh, me too.
Oh, that's weird. There'll be a bit of a power struggle then. Like... You throw me for a loop. I've never had someone come back and be like, "Yeah, no, I want to control this as well."
Maybe we could take turns.
What? Yeah, we could do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm out kinking you. Now I'm making you try something new.
It's just because I've known you for so long. I'm not ready to have this conversation with you yet.
God, relationships are such a power struggle.
Yeah, as a heterosexual male, I've not met many women who prefer to be dominant. I don't know if that's just because the type of person I look for is generally a submissive or neither type of person. But yeah, it's just never really been something that's come up, which is interesting. I feel like it would have come up at least once or twice.
I find I'm something of a switch. That's the word, right?
Yeah, there's someone who can sort of wear both hats, as it were.
But when role-playing's never really been my scene, when like... You start busting out the lines, like the whole scripted thing, and we're different people.
Yeah.
I laugh. I laugh and I ruin everything.
I ruin everything because even if in my center of my soul I was aware at how much this was turning my partner on, if they're like, I really need you to be like an angry teacher and I'm going to be your like naughty schoolgirl, I'm going to say like, so you failed your test. I mean, you need to go to the principal's office. And then I'd say something wrong. It's like, no, why am I going to the principal's office? You're supposed to, like, fuck me.
Is there someone else here?
And then I have to explain that there is no one there, and, well, it's a nightmare.
Mark, you submitted a Craigslist post here.
For a second, I thought you meant, like, you found a Craigslist post that I had made. No, I was just like, no, I've never done that.
Don't forge Craigslist. This is an authentic, serious business sort of game.
This is, yes.
You've given me one here that doesn't have a title, but it's formatted in an interesting way.
Mm.
Did you have something in mind for this particular post?
Yeah, just the way it was worded, I feel like the original author was trying to be no nonsense. This is what I want. Although the way it's written kind of sounds like a beat poem or just like slam poetry.
Right. Because, yeah, the content, pretty stock standard.
But Chris, if you could humor me and just read it like you were reading a slam poem.
I don't want to offend anyone who is like genuinely into slam and or beat poetry.
Well, okay.
But I have seen So I Married an Axe Murderer, where Mike Myers plays a beat poet, and I have seen 21 Jump Street, the remake.
Is there a beat poem in
22 Jump Street?
Yeah, there's one in that. I was like, oh, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. May have missed it.
So I can give him a best.
So okay, well then, disclaimer: this is a stereotypical beat poem reading, not a legitimate one.
This is not an actual beat poem, but a Craigslist casual encounter post.
Exactly.
Up for grabs. Spread them. Let me eat and tongue it. Get you wet and begging. Slide inside you deep. No rubber. Moan as I dump my nut. Solid 3-4 rounds here, guaranteed. Pillows here for you to bite. Eager bottoms to the front. Reply with pics of your face and your hungry hole.
I've never seen female genitals and been like, that's hungry. You can tell just by the way it's foaming at the mouth. Or
you've cut the top of the ad out here, but was this for men for women?
It was men for women.
Never heard bottoms used.
Yeah, that confused me as well. I think it was more of a...
it actually means like butts.
Yeah, maybe.
Not just like subs, but...
I think it actually is referring to subs.
That was a lot of fun, but I must encourage people not to have sex with strangers from Craigslist with no rubber.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. You don't know where they've been.
They have censored the O in hungry hole.
Yeah, that was weird as well.
As though that was the most offensive part.
Of course. Hole. I mean, referring to a woman's vagina or her butthole as a hole is a tad crude.
A tad. A wee bit, perhaps.
Yeah, like, even in dirty talking standards, there's, like, you want me to fill that pussy, and then there's, I'm gonna fill your hungry hole. That's a different class.
Hungry hip holes.
No, that's, like, not pleasant. Just imagine her vagina, like, doing the clapping, like, the mouth action that a hungry hippos thing does.
That's one hungry hole.
I don't know why, but it just attributed the Pac-Man waka 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 kind of sound with that action.
Yep, no, I tried to gross you out and you turned it right around on me. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Also, thanks for ruining Pac-Man.
You're welcome. What, I didn't ruin hungry hippos for you? That was always a little bit sexual.
That's an absolute childhood favorite and like maybe something of a fetish. We'll get into that later.
Seeing how many balls you can put in your mouth?
We'll get into that later. We'll get into it later, Mark. I think we got time for one more question.
Oh yeah.
And this is all you. I really have nothing to contribute to this question. So please just feel free to run on this one.
Right.
This comes to us from Scroats McGoats.
Oh.
Yep, the last one was Boobs McGee, and then we got Scroats McGoats. Real original naming.
Different Scottish clan.
A lot of Scottish porn stars tonight. This one time, I had sex with a deaf girl. She was hot and everything, but she couldn't hear the noises she was making, and I'm pretty sure people thought someone was dying because they kept opening the door and busting us. My question is, have you ever had a sexual experience with someone with a physical disability? And furthermore, what are your thoughts and feelings on educating people with mental handicaps about their sex lives and sexual responsibility?
So that's really kind of two questions.
It is a lot. Probably just really clarify the difference between being deaf and having a physical disability and a mental handicap.
I mean, mental handicap denotes things like cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, learning disabilities, that sort of thing, whereas a physical handicap, not everyone who's like wheelchair bound or deaf or blind is mentally challenged.
They probably don't need any like special sexual education.
No.
They definitely don't need any special sexual education.
Yeah. So I have had sex with someone with a physical disability. She was a paraplegic. I think she'd broken her fourth lumbar or something like that. So she could feel pretty much everything from like the belly button down. She couldn't feel anything from the belly button down. Sorry.
Right.
So I wouldn't necessarily say what we had was conventional sex, because obviously with being able to feel nothing from the belly button down kind of means she's not going to get much pleasure from me fucking her. So there wasn't really any of that. It was mostly sort of the other forms of sex, oral, handies, that sort of stuff.
So she just sort of used you?
No, I mean, there was definite sort of back and forth. She did... I don't want to suggest that because she couldn't feel her vagina, everything else got more sensitive, but she was very much into nipple play.
I actually heard about a dude who learned to, after being paralyzed from sort of the waist down, learned to have orgasms from having his thumb rubbed.
Yeah,
so there might be something to that.
I don't want to generalize, that's the thing.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
She did, like, funnily enough, I met her at a sex party. It was a group of individuals all meeting to have sex with one another. Kind of saw her and was curious because, you know, I do realize that people with physical disabilities are often fetishized.
Sounds like that's kind of what you did.
No, I mean, I generally slept with her because she was a nice lady. We got on really well. And then she was kind of like, listen, I don't want to freak you out or like make you feel uncomfortable. Did you want to go back to, there's like a room that we all fucked in.
To the fuck room.
Yeah, the fuck room. And it was kind of like, I was definitely like uncomfortable a little bit, but it was more sort of cautious. Like, I don't want to, there's that whole fear that like I'm going to hurt them or I'm going to like do something wrong. But no, it was a lot of talking about like what's okay, like what works for her, what doesn't work. Cause like she knows what feels good and what she can do physically. So in answer to the first part of the question, yes, I have. I don't know about Chris. Have you ever?
No, I haven't had a lot of sex, man. All able-bodied.
Such an ableist, Chris.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm an equal opportunist fucker. But the second question's a little bit more generalized and a little bit, I don't want to say political, but
yeah, I don't know if we're really the right guys to ask about sexual education. We should probably clarify in some sort of disclaimer that this podcast is not for educational purposes.
No, I mean,
we don't consider ourselves sexual educators.
No, we do have advice and things like that, but I feel like anything we say should maybe be taken with a grain of salt. Like, I didn't go to school to learn how to tell people how to fuck. I just fucked a lot.
You just went to a lot of sex parties.
Like 3. Like...
So now I know it was more than one.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll give my point of view. Listeners at home, and Chris, you're free to agree or disagree. Basically, I feel that those with learning disabilities will still have physical needs. I know for a fact that they do. I've seen enough documentaries and just anecdotal evidence to suggest that those with learning disabilities have... I mean, they go through puberty like everyone else, and their bodies have that ingrained need to be sexually active. And it's a shame that their mental state doesn't allow them to express that, but it's still there. There are instances where parents of mentally handicapped kids will hire escorts to sort of satiate that need, or at least sort of pop their cherry, to put it sort of brashly. But yeah, no, I definitely think that sex needs to be taught to mentally challenged folk. I also feel that there's nothing wrong with sleeping with someone who has a mental disability, provided that they can very clearly express that they're consenting to it. There's nothing worse, I feel, than taking advantage of someone who maybe cannot express that they're not okay with what's happening. That's pretty fucked up, if you ask me. But yeah, like, should it be taught to them? Definitely. They're still human beings and they still have the desire to fuck. Some of them don't, but I would imagine the majority of them do. And it's not fair to be like, oh, you're like mentally challenged, you need to just be a virgin the rest of your life because us mentally capable here are off doing all the stuff that you wish you were doing.
Fucking ableists, right?
Fucking ableists. Although you need to... I'm not going to say you need to go fuck someone with a physical or mental disability, because that's not right. But I'm sure if you were presented the opportunity and you were single, you'd probably, maybe, I don't know, would you?
I think there's a lot more factors at play than just those things that you said.
Okay, we'll take your current partner. We won't obviously disclose names or anything like that. But if they were in a accident that left them physically paralyzed from anywhere, really, or some horrible event that left them blind or deaf, would you still find them sexually attractive?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if she got like the wheelchair bound legs where it's basically just a bone covered in skin, because the muscles atrophy from disuse. So,
well, my baby though, she's got more than just legs.
No, it'd be weird if she was just legs, because then I'd be wondering where the body was.
It's getting awfully abstract.
Very abstract, but I like that.
I'm not really an ableist. It's just a joke. Don't write me hate mail. I'm very fragile.
I think that's all we've got time for. Again, we want to thank everyone for listening. We want to encourage everyone to keep sending us questions, keep sharing the podcast around. This podcast isn't what it is without you guys listening and submitting questions, so we really want to encourage that and get some discussion going. Like, I would love to wake up one morning, jump on Facebook and see some huge flame war about 2 random topics about which is better to fuck, and behind the knee pit or an armpit. But yeah, other than that, we've got our Twitter as well. Feel free to send us a message on that. Facebook, send us a like, follow us, all that good shit.
I want to say thanks to Badman Incorporated from the Newgrounds audio portal for letting us use our theme song that he wrote.
That's so funky.
It's a banging tune. I like to bang to. Did I make that joke last week?
No idea, but you can use it every week.
Yeah, it's a banging tune to bang to. Bang to it. It's only a minute long, so maybe loop it or just finish up quick.
Maybe that could be like your, like, you know, in the Oscars, the "you've been talking for too long" speech, like the play you off music. That can be your "I'm about to come" music. So you've just got it on cue. You can just be like, "Oh, it's about time." Hit play and then just arrive to some slap bass.
For people who aren't like that vocal about their sex, like a cum tune.
Yeah,
that's a really good idea. Give it a try. Let us know how it went. You've been listening to Talk Me Off. I'm Chris.
And I'm Mark.
Thanks for coming.
Here's a towel.